Hello everyone, quick little ice cream video. We're going to do vanilla ice cream. I have my milk in here heating up. We do that to pasteurize it. We do it to sort of quicken up the cooking process. We don't really need to worry too much about pasteurizing nowadays. Everything's pasteurized. Over here I have cream. So this recipe is equal amounts cream and milk. The milk we're going to heat up. We're going to combine it with these yolks and sugar. And then we're going to add the cream after we cook it out to bring the temperature down a little bit. And then once it's cold, we'll be able to put it in the machine to process it. So this is French ice cream because it has egg yolks and sugar. So there's 10 egg yolks.
That looks rich.
300 grams of sugar. Oh, so delicious. That's the thing with French ice cream. It has an off-white color because of the egg yolks. And what you want to do, as much as possible, is get some air beaten into this mixture. So you can see in that short amount of time how much lighter in color that already is. And so this is part of...
Like the hollandaise did the other day.
It is, yeah, very much like that. This helps to dissolve the sugar a little bit, and it also helps us gain a little bit of overrun, right? Which is when we freeze ice cream in a batch freezer. The batch freezer has little blades that kind of scrape the side of the machine, which is what we have. At Saunders and at different schools, they have slightly smaller machines that are Italian. They're gelato machines, and they just basically have a propeller in them. And it doesn't really scrape the sides of the machine. So that's one of the differences between a...
So you get more crystallization in the gelato then, because it's not scraping that frozen part on the outside?
It's gelato is almost the same amount of sugar, substantially less fat, because usually it's just milk. And it's the sugar really does control the shape of the ice crystals. Or the size, I guess, really. But the difference is when it scrapes the side, it folds in more air. And with French ice creams or hard ice creams that you scoop, there is a lot more air in them. So we'll just come back in a minute. Hello. So here we have our milk is just steaming ever so gently. So usually when it's steaming, that means it's sitting at about 80 degrees Celsius, which is what we would consider pasteurized. Now, when we temper something, we want to slowly bring the temperature of the egg yolks and sugar up. You can see I've beaten a little more air in that. So we're going to pour the warm cream in and just whisk, and ignore the beeping of the stupid induction burner. Whisk those things together until you get enough. That's probably enough. Goes back on the heat. This is nicely combined. Now we're going to put this back in the pot. Alley-oop.
So the egg is not going to coagulate because you temper it, right? Very nice.
Well, yes, like we've really nicely heated that yolk up slowly, so it won't break if we... Hello, everyone. Had we poured hot milk directly into the yolks, some of the yolks would have gone to hard boiled immediately, and you'd have these chalky bits in your ice cream, and you don't want that. So what we want to do now is we need to cook out the egg yolks for bacterial reasons, and also we want to thicken this. So this will take a few minutes. Just an aside, I'm doing this on an induction burner. If you're ever making an anglaise, which this is basically an anglaise, or an ice cream royale, on an induction burner, you have to be a little bit concerned because the bottom of the pot gets quite a bit hotter than if you're on an incandescent burner. All right, so we'll come back in a couple minutes when this is thickened, and we'll continue with the process. Okay, we're back. We have this beautiful ice cream base. You can see how thick it is. We call this stage is called nappe, and we call it that because of the way it covers things. So we'll just do that. So when it stays in one line like that, then we know that it's thickened enough. So the egg yolks that are suspended in the milk have been brought to soft boiled, but they're nicely sort of spread out in the milk. So that thickens the custard really nicely. Now what we're going to do is just strain this into this bowl that's got ice. Now, so this is our very fine conical sieve, sometimes called a chinois, fine conical sieve, and that gets any of those little bits of egg out. I mean, you remember from the video what it's called? The chalazi. Don't all shout at once. The chalazi, that's the piece we want to get out when we're making ice cream, because people don't want to feel a little blob of goo in their ice cream unless it's supposed to.
That's not good.
Maybe it's blob of goo ice cream, and then it would be okay, but you know, pecan pie ice cream. So I'm going to cool this. Now, one of the things I'm going to do now also, I've kept the cream out, and this will just help. It's just foam because I was mixing it earlier. This will help to cool it off really quickly so that I can get it into the ice cream machine. The other thing the other reason it's really good to get the temperature down is because I'm adding the vanilla extract, which costs about $100 a liter and is made mostly of wood alcohol, which means you shouldn't drink it.
You need a close up at that. $100 a liter.
$100 a liter. Oh, it goes in there.
Delicious!
If we put it in when the liquid was hot, because the boiling temperature of alcohol is so low, it would evaporate out and we wouldn't have the beautiful flavor. So often when we're making desserts, we add alcoholic flavorings near the end, so we get more bang for our buck, if you know what I mean. But don't feed them to children. All right, we'll come back in a minute and we'll put this in the machine. All right, so here's our beautiful ice cream machine. It has been washed, sanitized, rinsed, and then rinsed with very cold water, which has to happen both before and after we process ice cream, because ice cream contains all of the things that bacteria really likes. So as deadly as the meat slicer is, I could probably kill more people with the ice cream machine if I really wanted to, which I don't ever. So here's our ice cream base, and that's been chilled. The plug is in. Actually, just look inside the machine again, and you can see this machine scrapes the side of the vessel. That's what makes it a batch freezer. That's what makes it appropriate for French ice creams that are scoopable. Whereas a machine that's designed for gelato would have a similar looking device on the inside, but it wouldn't touch the sides of the bowl. So you get less overrun, which is why gelato is more dense than
Not as much air?
not as much air. Exactly. So we're on. This knobbin controls the spinning, and then when it's spinning, the timer controls the refrigeration. And if my base is cold, it usually takes about 20 minutes. So there's not very much in there. So we'll take a break and we'll come back when we're putting the ice cream in the containers. All right, so here we have our machine. It's been going for about 20 minutes. You can see inside there how beautifully frozen that is. Very thick and lovely. So we're just going to turn the refrigerant off first. Oh, it was off. And then turn the spinner off. And then I use these sort of a scoopy rubber scraper because I don't want to damage the inside of the machine. And I've had
ice
these.
cream.
That's beautiful, eh?
Yeah.
I use this sort of scoop-shaped rubber scraper to move things, so I don't want to scratch the inside of the machine. So you can see, we started with 2 liters of dairy product, and I'm going to easily get more than 2 liters of ice cream. There's also 10 yolks in there, which is about 550 milliliters probably. So we'll end up with almost 3 liters of product. And the nice thing is, part of that is air. So that means profit margin. The and that means
Stay in business.
staying in business. So there we go, ice cream.
Delicious.